You've seen some crazy foreclosure properties on our channel. This is right up there. We're gonna go take a look at this property. Now, this isn't a new foreclosure for us. We've actually had this one for quite a while. The reason why I'm here today is we just got it empty. This place had the former owner continuing to squat in the property long after the auction. In fact, the auction took place over a year ago.
$333,938.02. Want to go 334?
334, I'll take it.
334. All right. Anybody else?
Crickets?
All right. So we have 334 going once, going twice. Sold.
Woo!
We're gonna go check this place out. Incredible story about one of the dumbest foreclosures that shouldn't have ever happened. Let's go take a look around. We're gonna look at how the property was left. We're gonna hear about the numbers on this place, what the property is worth, what we bought it for, and you guys are gonna get a POV with me for my first time, my first day stepping foot in this property. If you're interested in learning about buying foreclosures, you are in the right place. We wrote the book on this thing, but let me tell you, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It can be quite the challenge. It's quite the adventure. And that's why so many people love to subscribe to our channel and stick around and learn how you can buy houses at half price. When I said this is one of the dumbest foreclosure auctions I've seen, it's up there, let me tell you. And that is more because of the numbers on this place. So first of all, we bought the house at auction. We were the high bidder at a foreclosure auction that took place just over a year ago. You don't get a tour, a private tour of the house. You don't get to inspect the property. You don't get assessments, information. You don't get to know if it's occupied or not, or who the occupant might be, or anything about the house. You're in fact bidding on it from the street. Now, we're a couple crazy dudes, but would you seriously do something like that? Would you spend $330,000 on a house you've never even seen the inside of? Well, we did it. We show you that stuff all the time. And now, finally, today is the first time that I get to go inside and see exactly what we bought. Now, why did it take so long? Why did it take a year for this to happen? For me to be able to get into a property? Would you seriously do that? It's a crazy thing, right? First of all, the house was occupied by what I believe to be the former owner, or I found out to be the former owner of the property, who bought the place in 2019 for about $340,000. Now, that was 5 years before the auction. They bought it for $340,000. They basically didn't pay on it, right? Because foreclosures do not happen overnight, especially in this state. We're in Massachusetts. They take a long time. We come along, we bid on the house, we become the property owner. Now, after the auction, there's a closing process, for the deed to transfer and all that. For whatever reason, maybe a slow bank, I don't know. It took several months for that to happen. So we won it in July. We didn't close till February. Now, in February, right after we closed, I came out to the property because we needed to change the lock, secure the property, etc. And I was incredibly surprised to find that there was still somebody living in the house. First of all, when a house gets sold, generally people do the right thing and move out. But sometimes, as you've seen on our channel, that just doesn't always happen. So I had a conversation with them, found them to be the previous owner of the home, etc. They initially tried to play kind of dumb. They said, "Oh, we didn't know." I'm not sure what they didn't know. The auction is public. It's published in the newspaper. It happens at the property. And they said, "Well, we need time. We need to figure out what we're going to do." I said, "Well, wait a minute. You don't have a plan? I mean, if you need time, I can give you maybe to the end of the week. I'm working with you here, but you've had several months since the auction took place. What do you mean you need time?" "Well, I don't know. I don't know where we're going to move to. We have to look around. We got to find a place. It's really hard to find a home right now." All these kind of things. I said, "Well, you've had 6 months. If you needed to do the end of the week or a little bit more time, we can talk about that." Also, there's state agencies. They give you thousands of dollars to relocate. I can help you connect to those. Maybe I can kick in a few bucks if you haven't, saved money. You should probably have a lot of money saved if you haven't paid a mortgage or a living expense for years. And, but maybe I can help you out with the cost of a U-Haul or a moving, company or something like that. Got their contact info. I reached out to them over and over and over. Emails, telephone calls. Never heard back, never responded to anything. So pretty quickly we had to start an eviction process. No, we hate having to do that. It's the last ditch effort. I'd rather help them transition out, give them some financial assistance, connect them to resources that they need, help them solve their problems. But instead, they wanted to sit there and squat in the property and make me support putting a roof over their head for as long as they could legally possibly get away with it. So that's the route we went. And in Massachusetts, court takes a really long time to start. Several months later, when we finally had a court hearing, they just didn't show up. They no-showed. There's a 10-day appeal period if you don't show up or if you lose by default like that. So we visited the property, we checked, said, hey, maybe they moved out now. Maybe they finally did the right thing and left. No such luck. They in fact, were still there and claimed they didn't realize the court date was the date. You would have figured they would have appealed or done something, filed a motion. They did nothing. They just ignored it. The rest of that process plays out. Eventually we get a piece of paper that we can hand to a sheriff or a moving constable. They hire and coordinate with us to hire a moving company and storage facility. And then they schedule and notice the occupant with a move out date. And that all happened. Not a word, nothing. Move out date comes and she's shocked and amazed and surprised. Had no idea, this isn't fair, I need more time, where am I supposed to go, etc., etc. So she runs down to court. Move out was scheduled at 10 a.m. Everybody's here at 10 a.m. She shows up at court at 10:20. Files a motion, says to a judge, I just need more time, judge. Doesn't offer any money, doesn't offer any kind of a plan, doesn't say, listen, I need a week and a half because the new place I'm getting is just finishing being painted. Nothing. They hadn't even thought about moving until the movers showed up. The judge, fortunately, and unfortunately for them, but fortunately for us, thank God, the judge did the right thing, denied their request, and the move out was able to continue. So, you think that would be the end of it. Boy, it was not. What happened at the after the move out? Well, we sent a contractor over to secure the property, change out any locks, board up any windows, whatever needed to be done. And the contractor had got a little bit of a delay, but got there later that evening to find that the occupant had come back to the property after they were told by the sheriff that they'd be trespassed. They were trespassed and could not come back. They come back to the property, and the contractor shows up. They actually mouthed off to the contractor who's there here at our request to, secure the place. They start giving the guy attitude. Long story short, I get a call, yada, yada, yada. He chases them off. I get a call about it. I call the local police. The police come out, and the police are here with the contractor. And while they're here, the occupant came back again. Thank God the cops were actually here, but they came back again. They just kept coming back to this house after they were literally trespassed. So we didn't press charges. Hopefully the stern talking to, made them really genuinely aware of the situation, that time was up, they had to move on. That's pretty much the story of how we got possession on it. So remember, the previous owner bought this place for $340,000. We bought it for about the same, $330 something with some closing fees. It's about the same. In 2019, so about 5 years ago. Now today, just a quick Zillow, without going through real comps, today Zillow is showing this house worth almost $200,000 more. Never a good sign when your front door looks like this. $200,000 more. This place went up in value dramatically from when they purchased it. And it's a pretty nice house. Not very well kept. We'll talk about the smell. So why I said it's one of the dumbest foreclosures ever is I have no idea why in the world somebody didn't realize what was happening, especially as it got to the end of the foreclosure process, and just simply turn around and sell the house for a $100,000 profit. Instead, the house ended up getting auctioned for probably what was owed left on the mortgage, which was basically the entire thing. This person lived here for 5 years, never paid a dime, or very, very little to live here in the home. From what I understood, when we came out, we did a safety inspection, and we've been to the property a couple times from our maintenance point of view, to look at the place. It kind of looked like this. This is not far off. So this is the aftermath of an eviction. It's not like this wasn't the way the house was being operated. What's crazy is the amount of stuff left behind. So how much was taken during the move out? How much was taken by the occupant after she kept essentially breaking back into our property? I don't know, man. I think we got to call this the Lego house, because there are Lego kits everywhere. Some of these things are brand new. It looked like we found one that was brand new just now in an Amazon box. Just Legos in stacks of Legos. And it's just in buckets and pails and scattered around the floor, piled up in corners. And this is the stuff that nobody packed, nobody wanted, that was all kind of left behind. We'll do our best to put this in the hands of somebody that can use it, or maybe donate a lot of it away. Or so again, going back to the numbers, they bought it for $340, sorry. It's worth, we'll say, $540 today. And they absolutely, if they weren't able to afford to pay for it for whatever reason, they could have sold it and probably walked away with almost a $200,000 profit, all for taking a bank loan out that they didn't or couldn't or wouldn't repay for some reason. Just a few years later, sell it for a huge, almost doubling their money. I mean, almost a 50% increase anyway. Huge increase. It's a shame also the way, it seems like they were living to an extent. I mean, this isn't necessarily all because a foreclosure auction happened and an eviction happened. A lot of this is the way the housekeeping was the entire time, from what we can tell. Look at this, just everywhere. Absolutely a shame and heartbreaking, obviously, to an extent too. But here we are. Again, this was a situation that never needed to happen. This place didn't need to be foreclosed whatsoever. There was a lot of equity that they had here. The bank sold it for what the bank was owed. We bought it and then basically provided a home to the household that had owned it for several months at our expense. We paid the water bill, the taxes, the mortgage, the insurance, everything. If the heating system were to have broken, we would have had to have fixed the heating system. I'm not sure we didn't have to come out and service it. It's an oil system. And that's how that whole thing goes. So if you're interested in doing this kind of stuff, again, we share our experience with you. We teach you how the whole process works. And you can see from our point of view how these things go. See if it's something you'd be interested remotely in doing. But you could have bought this $500 and some odd $1,000 house at auction for $300 and some $1,000. Essentially buying yourself $200,000 in equity at the same time if you just learned how to do this process. And you can buy our book to do it, but you can watch our live streams, you can watch our content. Hopefully you're already a subscriber. All right, we gotta go find the basement. Where's the basement? Basement? Are you in here? Laundry room? Okay. Ooh, what's up in there? At least we still have power on. We got the lights on everywhere. Looking good. Mostly clean and empty basement. Looks like it's pretty dry. I don't see anybody trying to jump out at me. That's a good sign. Your heating system here. Oil. Hot water tanks. Well. Pump stuff. Look at this. Pretty empty. Okay, looking good. Your electrical, water tank. No generator in the house probably, but that's all right. Yeah, nice dry basement. Comes with a pool table. You guys, I'm moving in. Look at this. We got a little crawl space here. Storage. Oh my God. Okay. Whew. Wait, did something just move? No. Right? Is it the flashlight? All right. I don't know about you. Seriously, I'm thrilled. This is a killer find. Now, again, it got a lot of extra cost, very expensive, because it took us a year on this house, but factoring that in, we still come out ahead. Just not as much as we would have. I got to tell you, this is such an awesome thing. I'm glad I can share this with you guys. I really, really hope you were able to make it this far into the video and get a chance to see exactly the kind of opportunity that you have when you learn about this, especially even in, again, today's economy and housing market. To buy something that you make money on by buying it is incredible. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me and checking this place out. I'm going to call it the Lego house or the bonehead foreclosure house because this was a very avoidable situation. Fortunately, we were able to come out on the winning side on this one here, and we really love being able to share our experiences with you. Make sure if you want to learn how to do something like this, you stick around our channel, you subscribe, hang out, and comment on our videos. But most importantly, you pick up a copy of our book, Foreclosures Unlocked, so you can share in our experience of going to thousands of auctions and buying hundreds of homes like this one. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next broadcast.